Hey everybody, I'm so glad that you're checking this out. I'm Steve Belkey, the pastor of Grace United Church in the Pioneer Valley in Northampton, Massachusetts. And hey, so do you ever feel like you're all alone? Like you screwed up, you blew it. You're in the wilderness. That's a biblical phrase. You're in the wilderness. You're feeling far from God, feeling ashamed, disappointed, maybe feeling stupid. If you're in the wilderness, not knowing what to do or how to fix the mess that you've made or has been thrust upon you, don't lose hope. If you're in the wilderness, don't lose hope, but look to God. Our church has been learning through the Old Testament prophet Hosea, and God allows us to hit bottom, to be overwhelmed by the pain of sin. Like when we trust other things, when we base our righteousness in them, our goodness in them, or our meaning in life. And he sometimes removes whatever those things are. Or he lets us have exactly what we want. But they don't deliver. They don't save us, because salvation belongs to the Lord. Or they addict us, they enslave us. That's being in the wilderness. That's kind of what I'm talking about. And God lets our choices lead us there at times. So you might be there right now. But hear this amazing declaration of God's heart in Hosea chapter 2. God says of his people, back then it was Israel, and sometimes it's us, but he says of his people who spurned him. They're in the wilderness, okay? They're feeling the pain of their sin. He says this in Hosea 2:14. Therefore I will allure her. That's the word for it, to entice her, to woo her. I will allure her and bring her back into the wilderness and speak kindly to her. Literally, he will speak upon her heart. That's what he's saying. After we've screwed up the good things that God has given us, after we make bad choices, or when others' choices hurt you and you feel vulnerable and you feel all alone, God says he will bring you into the wilderness of despair and he will speak to your heart. In other words, God has a purpose. If you can trust that, God has a purpose. He has something that he wants you to hear from him. And they're not words of shame or condemnation. He doesn't bring you into the wilderness to rebuke you, but they're words of hope. They're words of comfort. We often want words to help us control the situation, words to help us get a fix on it. Like Job, we want answers, right? But when you are in the depths of despair, you know what? You don't need answers. You don't need to be in control. You need comfort. You need hope. You need hope in a sovereign and good God who loves you and wants to speak to your heart. And that's what happens when you hit rock bottom. Before you take matters into your own hands, which is probably or maybe what got you into this in the first place, instead, turn to the Lord. Listen to him, trusting him. Listen to him with a heart willing to listen to him. Not to find answers, but to find God being God to you, the God of all comfort, the God of hope, and the God who raises the dead and gives sinners new life and makes all things new. That God, the God of faithful love, the God who calls you his child. If you're even kind of lost in the wilderness, listen to God, even now, even in this video. And look to his goal for you. In the next two verses in Hosea 2, what he says of Israel is for our instruction. And so let me just read that passage again. 2:14, therefore, behold, I will allure her, bring her into the wilderness and speak kindly to her. And then verse 15, I will give her her vineyards from there. And the valley of trouble will be a door of hope. And she will sing there. You'll be able to sing songs of love, songs of hope, songs of praise to a God who loves you. As in the days of her youth, as in the day when she came up from the land of Egypt, when God first rescued Israel to himself out of Egypt. I think God is saying to you, come back. Let me love you. Let's do a fresh start. He does that. His mercies are new every morning, right? Verse 16, it will come about in that day, declares Yahweh, declares the Lord, that you will call me, literally, my husband, and will no longer call me my master. This is God's goal, even for you in the wilderness right now, to bring you back to a fresh relationship with God, a fresh love, a deeper understanding of His love, one that is truly and most satisfied in God and in His love for you. That's what God wants with you and for you. And so even He'll bring you in the wilderness to speak these words to you. May you listen, may you hear, may He rejuvenate your heart, your joy, your faith, and get you through what you're facing. Okay, everybody, may you be blessed as you trust Jesus and walk with Him.